Boruto walked through the streets of Konoha before finally arriving to the Thunderburger restaurant. Of course, having the perks of traveling to other dimensions from time to time and savoring the burgers of other worlds was a timely tradition, but still, you could never quite beat the comforts of food from your own home. Plus, Boruto was going to be visiting with Shikadai and Inojin. He hadn't seen them in so long, and it was nice to reconnect with old friends from his academy days. Shikadai and Inojin would arrive, and they were happy to see Boruto once more. They knew that he had left for some special training thing or whatever it was, and that he'd been gone for a bit. You see, in Konoha, the use of magic and sorcery and things of that nature was something that was kept on the down low, with only a few being truly aware of its wonders and capabilities. This was done by Naruto himself for many reasons. Mainly because there were only but so many magic users in the world, and it was best that it be kept that way. Strange had told Naruto that one of the key factors to keeping his world safe was to limit the number of magic users in any given time and era. Because the more that people could use magic, whether subconsciously or even consciously, it could attract unwanted attention. Even for himself, there were sorcerers all over the world with different powers and abilities that ranged from high-level capabilities of destruction to just the mundane. A lot of people in his world didn't use magic in an extreme or in a violent comprehension. Some just used it for everyday life. Some people who were paraplegic used magic as a way of channeling through their bodies and giving them the ability to walk. But even still, with the use of that much magic, you are bound to attract creatures from other dimensions or other powerful beings who could seek you out. So it was best to try to keep the numbers as low as you could and only introduce it on a need-to-know basis. That's how Naruto took the approach of training the children, his own as well as Sasuke's and Sakura's respectively. And that's why the three were sent to Karmatage, a place where they could learn and harness their powers and skills before returning home, not just to become full-fledged shinobi, but full-fledged sorcerers in their own right. But still though, that wasn't on Boruto's mind at the moment. For now, he was just going to enjoy the time with his friends, and to catch up on everything that had been happening since he left. And a lot had changed. For one, the number of students graduating from the academy was decreasing year after year. The new age of peace that they lived in meant that shinobi weren't needed as often as they used to be. Even for Naruto's era, it was almost unheard of that you would do anything else besides become a ninja. Even if you didn't stay in the service for long, it was just something that everyone did. Even those who worked in other fields or had trades usually could tie back to being in the academy, at least earning the rank of genin, working D-rank missions, and some would even do so from time to time as a pass-by hobby. But now there were many different fields that were being opened up. Konoha and the rest of the world was advancing, not just in the terms of ninjutsu, but in the worlds of science and other marvels of modern medicine. Now, the days of just wanting to be a ninja, that wasn't the only road. People had many different desires, aspirations, dreams that they could now fulfill. And as such, with Naruto wanting to help the world de-escalate, the need for ninja wasn't as high as it used to be. Even for Boruto's graduation class, technically speaking, it was probably one of the lowest that Konoha had had on record. So much so that Naruto introduced a brand new bill that went into effect. It was known as the GAP, or the Genin Apprentice Program. This program was designed for low-class genin graduates who couldn't be put in three-man cells simply because they didn't have enough genin to make three-man teams. But they wanted to take the genin with potential and give them to a jonin that they could shadow under, having just be a single-man team for the most part. This would be much easier and would allow for more one-on-one training. And a few of Boruto's classmates had actually been selected for the program. Among them, two of the highly recruited for use of the GAP. The first was a boy by the name of Hoki and a girl by the name of Sumire. They had entered into the GAP program, and they were assigned Jonin, who would be watching over them as their apprentices. For Sumire, she was partnered up with the Jonin Moegi. And for Hoki, well, you could say that he finally had a dream come true, because he was partnered up with none other than the famed Six Hokage and the legendary war hero from the 3rd and 4th Great Ninja War, Kakashi of the Sharingan. Of course, Hoki looked up and admired Kakashi very much, but he wasn't just picked by Kakashi for no reason. In this world, as a lot of you are aware of, with the past of Sumire being the daughter of Root Shinobi who followed under the orders of Danzo Shimura, the events of the New Way arc would still take place as in the original timeline. The only difference is that the person who managed to stop Sumire, it wasn't Boruto, because he wasn't there. Instead, it was Hoki. Hoki had been watching the girl, keeping tabs on her. During the strange New Way incident, it was Hoki who took charge and got involved, managing to stop Sumire and managing to get her to change her ways. Because of that, Sumire was taken in and given a second chance. And, with recommendation from Sai, she was put into the GAP program. And, with Naruto showing clemency, given her situation, she was taken in to be the apprentice of Moegi. While in the meantime, Hoki, for his efforts, it was noted not just by Naruto and the other adults, but by Kakashi as well. Kakashi was feeling a little nostalgic, and for old time's sake, he wanted to try this one more time. That's why Kakashi announced that he would be participating in the GAP program. He would take on Hoki as his student. Essentially, the last student that he would ever train on a personal level. Because Kakashi was effectively retired, so he had a lot of free time. And while he didn't feel like he was suited to look after an entire team of Genin, looking after one Genin that had massive potential, well, he figured that that was more to his speed. And as such, Hoki became the apprentice to Kakashi Hatake. As for Shikadai, he would tell about how his team was assembled, following in the tradition of the Ina-Shika-Cho trio, and on top of that, how the Ina-Shika-Cho trio was always overseen by a Sarutobi. Konohamaru Sarutobi, to be specific, was the captain of Shikadai's team, and he was definitely as hard-nosed as his sensei was, Sensei Zabuza. While Zabuza was retired, he would often check in from time to time with Konohamaru to see how he was doing. After all, Konohamaru was his student, and the boy who he passed down the Executioner's blade to. Konohamaru took to mastering the blade, and as such, he would be a lot stronger in this timeline, especially in the muscle department, seeing as how the Executioner's blade was not something that could be wielded easily, even for someone that had to use two hands. But Konohamaru, wanting to follow in the footsteps of his master, he took to training until eventually he could swing the Executioner's blade with just a single hand, similar to how Zabuza could, on top of his other trainings in the way of the Sarutobi. It was already noted that Konohamaru would probably be next in line to be head of the Sarutobi clan after Asuma, if Mirai didn't take the position herself, and even she was growing in the ranks of the Sarutobi clan, so much so that Sakura could have seen potential in the girl to maybe even become a magician in her own right, although she didn't really have too much fondness for the mystic arts. But she was still well versed in the art of genjutsu, so that was something to be taken into account. In the meantime, however, there was more that was going about in Konoha, especially in the underground, as Naruto and Sakura would continue to watch over the mysterious boy that was brought into their custody. The boy birthed from the remains of Kabuto, who had been petrified into stone following his battle in the 4th grade ninja war with Sasuke and Itachi. Through a combination of magic and otherworldly ability, the remnant of Dormammu and the deal that he had made with Kabuto had come home to roost, and somehow, through unnatural means, this boy had been given form. It would just so happen that around this time, Jiraiya and Tsunade would return to the Leaf. Of course, they had residency there, but they preferred to travel and do their own thing. As far as the status of Jiraiya and Tsunade, it was kind of a on-the-low sort of situation. They felt like they were past the point of having a traditional wedding or ceremony or things of that nature. The snakes of time had seen to that. So instead, they simply chose to exist. Whatever label, however you want to call it or define it, that's up to you. But for them, they were just Tsunade and Jiraiya, two really good friends that traveled together, enjoyed retirement and old age, and often, very often, shared a bed together. Whatever happened in that bed just seemingly happened. No need to make a fuss over it. Jiraiya cared for Tsunade, Tsunade cared for Jiraiya. That was pretty much all there was to it. And seeing as how they were both back in the village, it was obvious that the first thing they were going to do was check in on Naruto and see how he was doing. Naruto would give them the full rundown of the situation and would allow them to meet with the boy themselves. To say that the both of them were shocked at the outcome would be an understatement, and that they both had mixed feelings about it. At least in their eyes, they effectively considered this boy to be the son of Orochimaru, more so than this Dormammu guy or whatever. He just played a role in creating him, but he didn't really have that much autonomy. But still, what exactly were they supposed to do? All convention and reason suggested that they should just kill the boy, but Naruto still saw a dilemma with that. Even despite being a Hokage, Naruto still had too kind of a heart. Tsunade understood it, and in a way, she loved him for it. It showed that in spite of everything he had been through, he didn't allow the darkness of the world to fill into his heart. But still, they had to look at things from a more analytical perspective. What exactly were they supposed to do with this child? They didn't feel it was right to kill it, but could they really allow it to just roam free? That's when Jiraiya had a suggestion. Allow me to take the boy into my custody, and allow me to look after him. What? Tsunade would say. Jiraiya, you can't be serious. I understand the sentiments you have for the child. Believe me, I do, but this isn't going to change anything. It won't bring him back. I'm fully aware of that, Tsunade, and I don't want to see it that way at all. This boy has been given a chance at life, and technically speaking, he hasn't done anything wrong. You know how I feel. You shouldn't punish the sins of the father onto the son, no matter how egregious the father might be. This boy deserves a chance to prove himself, a chance to decide who he'll become. Jiraiya, this is dangerous, Tsunade would say. There's no telling what this boy is capable of doing, what road he'll go down. This could lead to It'll be alright. I promise. I'm going to do my best to look after him and do right by him. I want to give him a chance. Naruto agreed with this, but parameters would have to be taken. With help from Sakura, a special seal would be made. A curse seal, if you want to call it that. They placed it within the boy's own heart. Essentially, they would seal off his ability to use any form of magic. Not as chakra, just as magic. If he tried to use it, the seal would keep him in place. And if necessary, it would kill him. Of course, Naruto wasn't happy about doing this, but they had to try to keep any chance of Dormammu having any influence over the boy at bay. Eventually, he would be released, and into Jiraiya and Tsunade's custody. There was still the question of where they were going to take him, but Jiraiya already had the idea, and Naruto, following along with his master, shared in that sentiment. We're going to take him to Mount Miyabuko, Jiraiya would tell Tsunade. The Mountain of the Toads. I suppose that's not the worst option. It will have more help for us there. Does the boy even have a name? He didn't. So Jiraiya felt it was best to give him one. And he settled upon the name Mitsuki. Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Mitsuki would travel to Mount Miyabuko, where they'd be setting up their residency for the foreseeable future. Of course, Tsunade wanted to keep on living in the lifestyle she had, traveling from town to town, drinking, gambling, enjoying the finer foods and the benefits of their retirement, but now it looked like they'd be taking care of a kid. At least he wasn't a baby, so they didn't have to worry about changing a diaper or anything. But for now, Jiraiya just wanted to watch over him, to care for the boy and to see what he was capable of doing. He wanted to understand Mitsuki on a fundamental level, to gauge just who and what he was. For Mitsuki, he retained the memories of the people that he was birthed from, at least through the DNA that was within his system, for both Kabuto and Orochimaru. So he was aware of who Tsunade and Jiraiya were. He just didn't have any particular relationship to them, but he understood how his predecessor felt towards them. You wish to gauge about me, to know more about who I am and about what I know. That would be a start, Jiraiya would say. But that's only if you're willing to tell me. There's a lot that I can tell you, Master Jiraiya. I can even tell you about what Orochimaru thought of you, and about Lady Tsunade. Of course, Tsunade was a bit uneased at this. To know what Orochimaru actually thought of them? Did he even have a thought at all? When it came to the two Sannin, their thoughts on Orochimaru were very much a mixed jumble of emotions. On one hand, they could never really forgive all the awful things he had done, the atrocities that he caused, the pain that he dealt onto others unjustifiably. Those were sins that could just simply never be forgiven. But at the same time, there was always that wonder. What if things could have been different? What if they could have changed Orochimaru? Stopped him from walking down the path that he did? Were there signs to his change? Were there ways that they could have intervened? These questions always plagued them, because no matter how hard they tried, they just couldn't see it. Or maybe they just chose not to. Were they blinded so much by the faith that they had in their friends that they never saw what he was truly becoming? Perhaps he was in pain. Perhaps there was something that was really bothering him. If they had noticed, Could they have made a difference? Would they have made a difference? Was Orochimaru just always going to be evil, despite any intervention they could have made? This was probably what their master, the third Hokage, thought as well. And now this plagued them too. And standing before them was effectively a clone of said former friend, who they couldn't tell if he were actually possessed by evil or not. Jiraiya, of course, didn't want to believe that. He truly believed that everyone should have a chance to make for themselves what kind of life they should live. He wanted to give Mitsuki that chance. He never hated you, Mitsuki would say. In spite of everything, he truly did not hate either of you. If anything, he thought of you fondly. He thought of you as precious comrades. And that's enough, Tsunade said, as she left from the group and went off to be alone. She didn't want to think about Orochimaru. She didn't want to think about anything he said or anything he felt. It didn't matter to her. Orochimaru was dead, paying in the afterlife for all that he had done. Thinking about him now wouldn't change anything. I've made her upset, haven't I? Mitsuki would say. She's just working through stuff. We all are, Mitsuki. May I ask, why do you want to train me? What do you hope to accomplish? Honestly, I don't know. Part of me feels like I'm trying to look after the son of my friend. You still call him friend? After everything you've been through together? I don't understand. How could you still say that about someone like Orochimaru? I don't know. I ask myself that same question. On one level, I should hate him. I should hate everything about him. And yet, whenever I think of him, all I'm filled with is sadness. Because in spite of everything he became, in my humble opinion, he never achieved his full potential. In spite of all the jutsu he mastered, in spite of all the knowledge he gained, in the end he died. And his legacy? Well, his legacy was already in the toilet. He couldn't have done anything to change it, but now here you are. Effectively, down to your cells, you're him in every way, but I don't believe that you are Orochimaru. Nor do I believe you're something possessed by Dormammu. You are your own autonomy, Mitsuki. I have faith in you, and I want to believe that you'll be capable of making of yourself whatever you want to be. You're kind, Mr. Jiraiya, but you never know. This could all just be a ruse. I could merely just be deceiving you. One day I could just as easily stand against you in battle and take your life. So why? Why put your faith, your trust in someone like me? You ask me why, Mitsuki. But let me ask you something. Why not? Jiraiya would pat Mitsuki on the head as he turned in for the night. Mitsuki, looking into the roaring campfire, left alone only with his thoughts. The fire would almost begin to morph and change, as if a face were beginning to appear in the flames themselves. Do you think this will change anything, boy? So, even with the seal, yes, the witch might be powerful, but I am stronger. You are not using magic. I am just merely making conversation. And what do you wish to speak of, Dormammu? I merely want to know how long will you play with this facade? Making house, pretending to be something that you're not. Do you know what I am? I know what you are. I helped create you. When Kabuto used the blood of the Uchiha, blood that had become touched with the mystic arts, I sensed the darkness inside of him, and I reached out. I gave him power, and he became the perfect conduit, the perfect avatar, for which I could resurrect into the mortal realm. Unfortunately, those plans were put to rest by the damned Uchiha and his elder brother, and Kabuto was left petrified in stone, living in a constant loop that he could not escape. It drove me mad, another wasted opportunity. But then I came up with an idea, to take the DNA inside of him, to craft and morph it, to create a new vessel, and that is you, Mitsuki. But you were found by the damned fox and the witch, and now they wish to morph you, just as I have morphed you. I cannot trust them? Why should you? You are nothing more but an asset, a tool. That is how they view themselves, the so-called shinobi. They are tools that are merely to be used and cast aside. Am I not a tool to you? Of course you are. The only difference is that when I create a tool, it will get results. When shinobi create a tool, it's already broken. Your potential is far greater than you could possibly imagine. But you were not created to think or to feel. You are merely the vessel for which I will exercise my will. You are nothing without me, Mitsuki. Why change it? Why change and try to fight fate? You know what you are. You are the son of evil and darkness incarnate. All DNA that passed through your body is the DNA of sinners, those of whom committed great atrocities, who were never loved or wanted. And why is it any different for you? Master Jiraiya does not feel that way. Master Jiraiya is a fool. An old fool who cannot see the forest for the trees. Who fights and grips with mortality and things far beyond his comprehension. You are far above him. You could kill him with ease without even trying. And yet you subjugate yourself to the old man and his whims. You will never be free. Because I will always live within you. I will always be the voice in your head. The darkness that you try to hide from. And even if you're able to escape me, you cannot escape the blood that courses through you. Orochimaru was evil, He was truly a despicable man. Greedy and vain down till the very end. That is what he will be remembered for. And you are now his son, as you are mine. Face it, you are nothing but the product of evil. So why struggle? Why fight? Why cling to an existence that means nothing? You seem so determined to break me, Dormammu. So desperate you are. You always act so powerful, and yet your power is so confined to using others. Tell me, are you really as powerful as you think you are? Or is this just another delusion of a washed-up hell lord? Listen, you damned brat! Continue your prattle as you wish. Continue to resist who you are. But you cannot escape the reality, the fatality, and the futility of life. I have existed for eons, far beyond your miserable comprehension. I know the true folly of man, and I know quite simply that the bravado that you show is just that, a mere facade. I can see the inner truth. I know the outcome. You can deny it all you want, but in the end, when you are left with nothing, when you become nothing more but a hollow, miserable shell, that is when I will strike. I will lay claim to what is rightfully mine, because you never had anything to begin with. That is your folly. That is where you err, boy. You believe you have any autonomy in this. You believe that you have any say-so. You live as a mere inconvenience that I will rectify. You think you can expel me from your body? Go ahead and try. But you will see. The darkness cannot exist without the light. They go hand in hand. You are nothing more but a moon. A moon that steals its shine from the sun. Because without it, Mitsuki, you are nothing. The flames would shoot up and roar before quickly dying down, as Mitsuki was left alone once again, alone with his own inner thoughts. As he looked up to the night sky of Mount Miyabuko, looking at the full moon that shined over him. You are right. Perhaps I am nothing more but the moon, a celestial body that steals the light of the sun. That is true. But I can choose who illuminates me. As long as I can choose my sun, then my sun will light my path. I am content with that. Do you hear me, Lord Dormammu? You may be many things, but you will not be my sun. The sun will be what I choose it to be. I will choose the sun that illuminates me, and with its shine, I may shine as well. This concludes Boruto, the Sorcerer's Son. What if Boruto was a sorcerer? Season 1, Part 3. As always, if you enjoyed today's video and everything else that we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that's to come out now and in the future. Stay tuned for tomorrow morning's video as we'll continue with Boruto, the Sorcerer's Son, What If Boruto Was a Sorcerer, Season 1, Part 4. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings. Signing off, and I'll see you next time.